What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Parrot Press. Today's video, we are looking for a new Challenger Europe rare midfielder, and I've made a quick shortlist. Well, I say quick, it's quite extensive. I've cut it down to 4 people, and we're going to talk through them as to why I'm considering them, and yeah, who am I going to buy, really? So the first one is Tom Hay. Now, he plays for a club that I'm quite familiar with because I had Nopper in goal, who plays for Heerenveen, and Cole Hurt as well, and Botch, who's their centre-back. Now, so I've watched a fair amount of them. And when we're talking about Tom Hay, we are talking about one of the best midfielders on the platform. He's 66th overall. A very good player who plays centre mid, as I said. He plays in a variety of positions because he can play. I mean, the last game he played centre back, which is a little bit weird. I don't expect him to play centre back moving forward. However, I think that they've got some defensive issues and injuries and stuff at the moment. But if we look at these scores here, he normally plays CDM. He can play CM. He does get forward a little bit. And the good thing about him is that he takes all of their set pieces as well. And that's what I'm after with a midfielder, somebody who takes their set pieces and gets in amongst the main part of what that team does. Now, Heerenveen do like to keep the ball, so he gets a lot of points from passing. And so from an AA point of view, he does get, I mean, the last game, 39 AA. If you chuck a decisive on that, which are not few and far between here, I mean, assist, a goal, couple of assists in the same game there as well. He is capable of a decisive, which means when he does get one on top of that AA that he normally gets, he's peaking around the kind of 90s and the high 80s, which we can look at here. Now, from a score point of view, it's very consistent, and this is why I like him. The thing that puts me off him is his price point at the moment is 0.5. Now, as we all, well, 0.54. As we know, and probably people are trying to sell cards and buy cards, the market isn't great at the moment. You kind of can't seem to sell, and you're risking buying because the prices are falling dramatically as well for some reason. If we talk about Hayes specifically, there's only 3 cards on the market for him, hence why his price is a little bit higher, and 2 of those are actual trader accounts as well. So it's a little bit. Do I think he's half an ETH? Maybe just a little bit less. Maybe that 0.47, just because he's so consistent. From a super rare point of view, I think the guy is a bit of a joke in terms of them scores. He must be really expensive. But I'm looking to pay around about 0.47, to be honest. Maybe I need to wait for an auction. But if we look down here, I mean, a couple of months back, 6 months ago, he was over an ETH. Now, I don't know in terms of what happened with Fiat there, or whether it was just this point here where he just kind of crashed because nobody was buying that auction, and then all of a sudden he's stayed around that price. But I do really like him. I'm just not sure in terms of price. In terms of age, really good age, 27. As I said, he's a really key player for that team. So he's definitely on that watch list. The next one, we're going up a little bit more. We're looking at around about just shy of 0.8, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I want to spend that. But Otavio has turned out to be such a good player in recent months for Porto. Now, I haven't watched too much of Porto, so I can't say that he's the best thing since sliced bread. However, these scores here are fantastic. A couple of hundreds, a couple of high 80s and 90s in there as well. The thing that concerns me about this guy is that if he has this middle patch here, I know a couple of these games were for Portugal, so let's just sort it by Porto themselves. Yeah, if he hits this, I think he drops down by 0.2 at least in terms of price. 6 or 7 games on the bounce in the yellows and the what is that, light green or whatever green it is. It worries me. It does worry me. A good thing about him is that, again, he's at a great age, 27, coming into his peak, hopefully, as a midfielder. Plays on a great side who likes to dominate the ball and dominate that league, to be honest with you. And he's got Champions League utility for midweeks, and he takes most of their set pieces as well. Now, what I've found by looking at these scores is that he seems to have found his feet a little bit by playing in this right side of midfield, or that ram position. Because if we go back down here to where I can find it, I was looking at it earlier. Let's just show all for a minute, and then filter. Can I do by position? Yeah, so it was centre attacking mid, was it? No, left or centre mid. Well, let's just chuck them all in there. That's basically not that right mid. And you can see there, very hit and miss. Obviously, got a couple of the high scores as well. But as soon as we start to put in that right attacking mid and the right mid point of view, you can see that we see a lot more green. So I think he's found a position there. And he seems to be a key player. He's played 90 minutes for the last, like, what, 10, 12 games. So he's definitely there. Another thing that obviously concerns me is his price, because as soon as you pay this, if he has a few games where he doesn't hit where people want him to hit, I think he's going to plummet. So that's the concern there. Two left. Next one is Mynans. Mynans? I don't know how you say his name, but let's call him Sven. Sven, at the moment, you can see here he had a lot of popularity around this cluster of buyers, and I was actually looking at him around these two purple dots here, but I didn't have enough ETH to bite the bullet. And the reason why I wanted it is because I wanted him for this game here, this Canberra game. And what did he do? He went and scored 100. So if you have been following the channel, I've got the forward for Sparta Rotterdam. Now they are overperforming. I think they're 6th or 7th in that league. They are overperforming, and I think this guy Van Cruij and one of their centre backs, I can't remember who it is, maybe Friends, have been playing really solid as that kind of spine. Mynans has made his way into the centre midfielder position. Before that, he was kind of playing wide right, which I didn't think suited him. He's quite physical. He's got a good body on him, you know, in terms of physique, so he can put himself around a little bit. And I think in the centre of the park is where he then finds his AA scoring, and he gets those 20s or the high teens in there as well. I expect more decisives from him, but around about 0.2. You can't really complain. I mean, out of the next, that's a good fixture, okay, bad if Ajax buck up their ideas, and then all of a sudden we're on another stretch for another 4 games. So out of the next 7, 6 of them are really good fixtures for Sparta Rotterdam and for Sven. But there was something just before I hit record on this video that I saw on Twitter. He might be going to AZ on some sort of swap deal with Boza, or something's going on there. Now, there were people interested in Feyenoord. There's a club in Bundesliga that I read yesterday on Twitter as well. Obviously, AZ. So maybe AZ have come in for him, and I wasn't expecting him to make a move until the summer, to be honest with you. So that's maybe a bit of a doubt. And let's just go to auctions and offers, and maybe this is why people are listing a little bit more in recent hours, because they've heard some of this noise and they're a little bit worried. If he does go to AZ, it depends. Depends where he plays. Now, they've got a few cams. They've got a few DMs as well. Does he play DM? Does he play... I don't know where he plays, so maybe I'm answering my own question. There's just too much of a risk there to be taken on him if he does get that transfer. But he is under 23 for another year, and I do really like this player, and he can take some set pieces as well. So he's on the watch list, but maybe I've just talked myself out of him. And then lastly, I haven't really got much information about this guy. This was specifically by scores that he's been receiving. I'll switch over to that now. See all of these scores here. Fantastic consistency, that is, for a midfielder. That's kind of what you want. Now, he's got a couple of cards. He's got some forward cards out there, so be careful if anybody is picking him up. And it's an okay price, I think, for somebody who's scoring in the 70s almost week in and week out. Now, he's got 3 DMPs here because he got sent off. I think he might have slapped someone, which is a bit strange. But yeah, he's served his ban now and he will be back. And if we're taking a look at these fixtures, the next 4 are great fixtures. You've got Ajax in there, but then you've got another couple of decent games, and pretty much the whole running up until the last 3 or 4 games is really good for this team. And he does, again, take set pieces. He's the kind of main focal point, and he's a bit of a journeyman, because I didn't really know this, but when I was doing a bit more detail, doing a bit more research on him, He actually played in the Eredivisie for Vitesse a while back in 2021, and then he made a switch to the Turkish league, which he didn't. Maybe he didn't take to the league, or the team didn't take to him, or whatever it is. But he's back in the Eredivisie, and as soon as he's come back, I mean, look at that second game he hit a 91. So he gets decent AAs, and again, if he can get that decisive on top, he can score some really decent points. So he's on that watch list. So let's go back and just take a look at it from what it looks like at the moment. As I said, there's only 4 on there. There was about 20, and I've kind of dwindled it down a little bit. If I'm leaning towards anybody, it's probably to Hay, just because I think it's an okay price. He's in and amongst it. It's a decent team. I've watched quite a lot of them. But Otavio, as I said, it worries me about his form if that does slightly dip. I feel as though I'll be buying at the top price there, as opposed to coming in just under and then he grows. Maybe I'm hitting his peak. Mainan's issue with a transfer, I've got to watch what goes on, but he would probably fit my gallery the best, just because I could stack him with the forward that I have. And then this guy here, I don't know too much about that team. So if you know anything about these guys, or somebody that I'm missing here that I should be considering, drop a comment down below, guys, as to either news about these, or, as I said, if I am missing somebody, that would be hugely appreciated, because I am looking to pick somebody up pretty soon, to be honest with you, because in the last few weeks since my last video, we've done some deals. Been getting out the limiteds that I had, because I'm not playing the limited divisions. I sold Davy Klaassen, and then he went and hit an 85, so brilliant. I did have him in the lineup though just before he left, and yeah, nothing come of that, but it is what it is. I also made this deal. Let's just talk about these 3 transactions whilst everybody's here, right? So Nopper, maybe looking at this now, it was a really good deal for me. So Nopper, I don't know what's going on with him. He kind of dropped out in the warm-up. I don't know what the extent of the injury. However, because I'm kind of really light in terms of my gallery, I needed another goalkeeper quite quickly in order to play the Challenger Europe alongside All-Star. Now, the thing that I did actually consider was selling that second team and just going really big on an All-Star team until the MLS come back. But I managed to get this deal because nobody was taking the bite in terms of price. And by looking at the ETH and the averages now, it's a good job that I did. I think he'd be back in a couple of weeks, and again, he's a really good goalkeeper. I do really like him. I think that he leaves at the end of the season, I think, to go to maybe an Italian team. But I got in Anthony Morris and Monterio as well. Now I plan on selling this guy, but from an MLS standpoint, if somebody's looking for a really consistent player, he's one of them for sure. But I brought in Anthony Morris. Now, if we take a look at his scores, he's capable again of a decent AA and clean sheets, absolutely. And these next kind of 5 out of the next 6 fixtures is really good for him. And they're really high up in the league. I think they're second at the moment as well. So signing a goalkeeper who's 32, hopefully coming into his peak, or if not in his peak, then I think that was a really good pickup for me. The next thing I done was I sold Yeimar. I've been trying to get him out the club for a while. I think I've sold him for too little, to be honest with you, because when the MLS comes back, I think he's one of the best defenders in there. But as I said, at the moment, the market is not ideal. People are undercutting each other left, right, and centre. But I did manage to sell this guy to get some ETH in, and that ETH that I brought in is spent on Christian Burgess. And the reason why is because, as everybody probably knows, I like to stack the goalkeeper and the defender. And this guy right here can score big time. Hundreds, 96, high 80s, and that is perfectly fine by me. Now, the thing that I've got to watch, and if you guys have got this guy as well, is if you look at that, the last 4 that he's played out of the last 5, he's got a yellow card. So I think he's 2 away from a 2-match ban, or maybe 3 away. So just keep an eye on that. But from a fixtures point of view, obviously, because he plays for the same team, I am liking the fixture run, and I do like him because he's a threat going forward as well. I watched this game because I picked up Teddy, didn't I, a couple of weeks ago. I watched this game, and he will it actually register that he's got that shot on target? Maybe it won't, but he won about 3 or 4 headers from corners, but he didn't get them on target. But at least he's winning them from corners and free kicks. So that combination there, it could be an assist and a goal in the same week for Teddy and for Burgess as well. And if he can get the clean sheet on top of it, then happy days. So that's where I am with my gallery at the moment. As I said, I'm still looking at to bring in a midfielder. Don't know who to bring in. I'm still trying to sell some players as well to generate some of the ETH, so that if I do want to bring in a somebody like an Otavio for his price, I have got the ETH there. But I'm not there yet at the moment. But as I said, leave a comment down below, guys. Who am I missing? Who should I be signing? Who do you think that he's a breakout star, something like that, that's underpriced, undervalued as a midfielder? Ideally, I'm looking for a Challenger Europe card so that I can play them in either lineup, the All-Star or the Challenger. But if there's somebody out there that's literally, you know, even in Champion Europe that I'm totally overlooking, then drop a comment down below, guys. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see some more, hit the subscribe button. When Prem, that's what I want to know. We're at the end of January and we should be getting the Premier League soon. A lot of noise. Will it come in the next week or so? Will it come today? Who knows? But as always, guys, I will see you in the future.